The Legend of Frosty the Snowman is a pretty decent film. This was released in 2005, it's directed by Greg Sullivan, and this is a story about how Frosty goes to this town, a town called Evergreen, and all of the children there have basically been suppressed. They're not allowed to have an imagination, they're not really allowed to be children, but Frosty begins to work on the children and make them kind of misbehave, by which I mean they break the rules. The rules themselves are, far too strict and not rules that should exist. But Frosty encourages them to be children again, and it's a fun story. I won't say what happens as a result of that. We do have certain adults who are outraged by the children's behaviour and what's happening, and it's a pretty decent story. It's not too bad. The whole thing is just over an hour, and it manages to sustain itself the whole way through. That being said, there were some things in it that I think could have been removed and we wouldn't have really lost anything. It's also not the kind of narrative I could watch again and again. Now that I've seen it once, I know how it concludes, I know what happens. I'm happy to have seen it once. I doubt I'd ever see it again, but the narrative's interesting enough for a one-time watch. I think the animation quality is beautiful. We have a really gorgeous colour palette. We have a lot of, obviously, fresh white from the snow, but we also have a lot of pastel colours, and it's quite soft and delicate, and I rather enjoy that. That's very much to my style. The style's also consistent all of the way through, which is always a good thing. We also have some great voice acting and a strong voice cast, to name just a few. We have Tress MacNeille, Kath Soucie, Tara Strong, Burt Reynolds, Grey Griffin. Really great voice cast, and that obviously comes across in the voice acting, so no complaints there either. All things considered, Legend of Frosty the Snowman, I'm not sure if it's called The Legend of Frosty the Snowman, as it is on the poster art, or Legend of Frosty the Snowman, as it is on IMDb. So forgive me if one of those is official and one of them is incorrect. But either way, it's a decent film. As I said, I probably wouldn't watch it a second time. Maybe as a child I might have done it, might have been one that I would have watched a few times over. I think it would have really appealed to me. As an adult, watching it once, I enjoyed it. If you like festive animations, or indeed if you like the other Frosty films, then I'd say it's worth checking out. It may not be the most riveting or compelling thing that I want to watch again and again, but it's quite sweet, it's quite fun. I was curious to see how it would develop and what would ultimately happen with the narrative, and all things considered, I rather enjoyed the experience. If it sounds like it could be your kind of thing, definitely check it out. Legend of Frosty the Snowman is not too bad at all.